He sold more than 170 million books, including one of our all-time favorites, The Pillars of the Earth. This week, Ken Follett is out with a prequel, The Evening and the Morning, an epic tale about the world emerging from the Dark Ages. It is once again signature Follett, full of history, architecture, scandal, and memorable characters. From outside London, we spoke to Follett about The Evening and the Morning, as well as the groundbreaking work he's done in years past.
Come on. Sometimes people say, I had given up on reading, and I hadn't read a novel for 20 years. And then somebody gave me The Pillars of the Earth, and they said, you've really got to read this book. You've really got to read this book. And I enjoyed it so much that it's got me reading again.
Ken Follett speaks with grandiosity about Pillars of the Earth, which was later turned into a TV miniseries.
I don't take kindly to priests who steal.
God doesn't take kindly to bishops who lie.
But so do legions of its readers, who find its combination of storytelling and history a magical experience. Now, Follett has traveled across the UK to put together The Evening and the Morning, his prequel to Pillars, which opens with a savage Viking conquest in the year 997.
There's a mystique about Vikings I think that people are really fascinated by, but you make clear very quickly in this book that these are not the good guys.
People think the Vikings are sexy, and I really don't. They were murderers, thieves, and slavers. And they were just the worst people in Western Europe.
To write The Evening and the Morning, Follett studied the Bayeux Tapestry, a sort of comic book version of what life was like at the end of the Dark Ages.
They didn't have docks. You wanted to go aboard a ship. You hitched up the skirts of your tunic around your waist, and you walked through the shallow water.
If the information wasn't available, he got creative.
For example, in The Evening and the Morning, I did everything I could to find out what underwear people wore in the Dark Ages. Or perhaps none, but perhaps some. And nobody knew. So I made something up, and that's what you have to do.
As usual in his fiction, Follett has embraced strong characters from all sides.
Some books appeal more to men, and some books appeal more to women. One of the things about your books is that I think it's always cut across those lines, and that was the goal, I assume, with this as well.
Well, absolutely. And when I was writing my first successful book, which was a wartime spy story called Eye of the Needle, halfway through the planning process, I changed the main character from a man to a woman, because everybody's read, 10 thrillers about two guys, and it made the story much more interesting.
A decade after Eye of the Needle, Pillars became an even bigger publishing phenomenon, in part by leaving almost nothing out of bounds.
You've never shied away from the carnal aspects of life in your books. Why is that?
It's partly because I and my readers like the carnal aspects of life, but there is a literary reason as well. There's often in a novel, there's a love story in which two people are crazy about one another, but they can't be together. And whatever the reason, that's the story. If two people meet and fall in love and get married and live happily ever after, it's not a story, is it? But if you have had these two people for 200 or 300 pages, looking at one another over a crowded room, wishing they could be alone together, wishing that they could kiss but not being allowed to kiss. And then finally comes the moment when they can be together. They're alone together. They can do all the things that they've been dreaming about for the last 300 pages. Then it's only fair to the reader that we should go with them, just for a little way at least, into their paradise.
There is no king, there is no queen, there is no law in this land.
Follett's epic, ancient tales have never been easy to transfer to television, but that hasn't stopped filmmakers from trying.
When do we see The Evening and the Morning on a screen?
Well, wouldn't that be nice? It will be an expensive show to make, but I can just see it. It opens with a big, dramatic action scene. I'm hoping Hollywood will love it.
The evening and the morning. He is fun to talk to.
Oh my gosh, I love him. And by the way,
so
even
fun.
just describing the carnal nature, I was like, what? Yeah, I mean, like I was there. It's crazy.
He's fun to talk to. He's also a master storyteller, and the books are really tough to put down.
He is a character
He
in and of
really
himself.
is.
He
He's great.
really, truly is.
And we thank
Bravo.
you for sitting down with us.
Such a great story.